Hey everybody, it is Sunday, July 13th. And as usual, I'm going to try to make a monthly video explaining things as we go forward here. Um, I feel a lot more comfortable now because now that I've let the cat out of the bag, that, you know, I'm basically explaining or claiming to be an ET or, you know, an alien. But I want to clarify that. I want to explain it so that you can understand how this system works that we're all involved in. Um, yeah, I mean, it's been a while, but yeah, I finally was able to put this book together. It's just a short thing, because even just the way I just live my life is I always try to simplify things. So I try to get to the essence of something or do short explanations rather than really long stories about things because it does get complicated in some ways, but again, I'm trying to simplify it as best as I can. So I'm always trying to think of ways to use analogies so that we can kind of both be on the same page. And still to this day, the best way to explain kind of what we're experiencing or where we're at is it's like this is a if you watch Star Trek, most people have seen some episodes, is this is kind of like a holodeck. This is like and we're talking the universe. The universe is one giant huge holodeck that we as a collective, being part of Source, have created as it's a combination of a playground zone as well as a classroom. It's mostly, I look at it more as classrooms. So our essence is just our soul or our spirit is just a ball of light, and even even that itself is what you'll eventually understand is even though we're just a ball of light, we're all sort of individuals, part of part of all the energy, because we're just an energy orb. We're all sort of individual, which is really fun, because we make ourselves unique little power sources, and because we all have our own unique experiences that we learn from. So there's so much to talk about, but I'm just trying to simplify things, like I said. So once you come into these physical realities, you can you can still sort of remotely or change your position in these classrooms even. But for the most part, you're tethered to this physical body, whatever you've chosen to incarnate into, which is these human avatars that we're in. But when you're on higher dimensions, which is like I said, it's like this. These are classrooms. It's like you're a higher classroom, like grade. We're in grade 3 right now, just so you understand. Remember, transitioning to grade 4. Again, that's a long explanation, but I don't want to go too much into it. And then what we're trying to do is graduate to grade 5. And yeah, things get less complicated the higher the grades. Uh, they get more in depth, sort of. Whereas I say down here, but in these lower frequencies, it's all about kind of the duality game that we play, or these lessons that we learn, and it's how we look at them is more good and bad, you know, or evil versus more angelic, or whatever, however you want to look at it. So that's kind of what we do down here, and that's why it gets so dark and messy and everything. So to choose to come to these classes, which I gotta admit, I mean, there's so much to learn in these lower realms. It's just, I mean, you can't, like the saying goes, there's no comparing, like, there's, then, from knowledge, your knowledge, there's nothing better than actually having the actual physical experience, the actual experiences. There's no replacing experience with, like, knowledge is good. Like, you can read a book forever, and okay, you get it. Okay, you understand the fundamentals of something, but unless you live it and really experience it, then it really sinks in. Well, that's what our spirits try to do. Is we want to experience things. So we set up these worlds for that. So, okay, going back to what I'm trying to do is explain me as an ET or an alien. What it is well, I'm a little unusual because I'm a grade 9 student coming down into these classrooms, which I've done before. I've done 3D a lot. Okay, so it's like I'm really, really old. I'm extremely old as far as my spirit is concerned. My physical body, yeah, I'm only in my 60s. But anyway, so to explain why I'm sort of would be considered an alien in this realm is because when you there's two ways to explain this. There's off planet, which is like, okay, there's other galaxies and everything within this universe. Beings that are in the same, they're all still grade 3 students, but this is huge classroom. So they can come visit here too, being in this physicality. But I mean, the classic way that we think of aliens is like, they've got some sort of crystal fuel or something or whatever, and they've traveled all across the universe, and they've landed their craft someplace, whatever. That is a reality. Like, there's beings that do that, but also once you advance in in grade 3 here, once you advance, and believe me, you can get really knowledgeable. Including you could even have graduated to grade 4 and 5 and still come back to these classrooms. So what I mean by what ends up happening when you do that is you have 5D technology, so you don't have to fuel up your spaceship, your round disc spaceship, with a bunch of gasoline, and then hopefully you don't run out before you hit the moon, so you can fill up again or whatever as you travel across this. We're talking high tech, as in not only just wormholes and portals that you can travel through, which is kind of like it's like if you're inside a computer game. There are actual, like, little cheat places where you can go from one electronic thing to another, just literally instantaneously. So yeah, again, I'm trying not to go down too many explanations, but so coming here from a higher dimension, in my case, I still, even on my level, I have chosen a physicality, and he would be considered a giant. He's 8 feet tall. That's who I am in another sort of dimension. But when you're, this is weird, I know, but I'm just going to keep trying to explain it the best I can, is when you're on higher dimensions, you can choose different avatars, as in you can have multiple characters in this game, in this physical game. You can run 2 or 3 characters. It's very much like a video game in some ways. It's like, but you can have multiple characters. So that's one of the easier ways to explain it. And what you do is it's almost like you take, because the the more your spirit grows, the more powerful it is. Now it can maintain more consciousness. It can hold more consciousness, as well as it can split. Like you could kind of split into two if you wanted, and still be the same. Like it's like twins. You can split into two or three. What I mean is that's just your consciousness. So we're talking still just the energy orb, just the glowing ball of light. And then that glowing ball of light can inhabit physical bodies someplace. So, and time and space are totally inconsequential at that level. Like you could literally go to the other side of the universe within an instant. And as far as time is concerned, it's irrelevant, because it's almost like, yeah, you can go back in time or you can go forward. You can't necessarily go forward too much, because it's like it still has to be played out. That's the thing about forward time leaping, is there's too many variables. In other words, there are probabilities rather than facts. So you can sort of go forward a little bit, but mostly you can go back, because that's something that has already been experienced. It's very similar to when you're writing a book. It's like, okay, I can go back to chapter 2, because I remember we wrote this story, and that did happen. But if you're still writing your book, there's still probabilities. So you're on chapter 20 or something. It's like, well, it didn't really happen yet, because I'm still writing the book. I don't know. I'm trying to make it sound more understandable, but I don't want to confuse it too much. So anyway, what it boils down to is I am an aspect of what some people might even call higher self or whatever, but no, it's my my soul, my essence of me can be multiple places at the same time. So in other words, I'm still consciously living that experience. Well, I kind of did a basic version of this 8-foot tall being. I'm still in his avatar, as well as my human avatar here on Earth. So it's like we have a shared consciousness. So it's aware that I'm playing in this classroom as well. I'm existing in this classroom. So in that way, I'm sort of like an alien, but at the same time, I'm fully human. So I would also now consider myself a human being now too. Or not only just a human being, but an Earth human in particular, because there's a lot of humanoid beings all over the place, let alone in the Pleiades and things like that. They're and they all, and on these different classrooms, that we're all in the same giant classroom like university, but all in these other physical worlds, they have different rules of physicality. We're not all the same. A lot of the same sort of physical, what we would call physics or rules of existence, are very similar in this universe. But as you can imagine, on different planets, there's different amounts of gases and minerals that are different. So we all adapt to our own particular planet that we're from. So there's different versions of us that we look differently, probably act differently. We have completely different history as far as our planets are concerned. So there's that going on too. So just to understand, when I chose to come in here, it was to experience and be a human being just as much as everybody else here. That's why I'm getting dental work done next week. I still have to go through all the same physical ailments that everybody has here. and the same emotional stresses and financial stresses and everything. I mostly am doing this for intel, though, too, because when I chose to come in here, be the volunteer to come in here, and this is my third time in, too, that I can remember, that is. Because each time you get your memory completely wiped out. I mean, but anyway, so when I chose to come in here, my consciousness is not only connected to my larger version of me, but also they have access. There's 5 other, maybe only 4, I guess, but 4 or 5 other entities that have access to my consciousness. And how to look at that is, it's almost like when people have like those virtual reality goggles that you put on, and you go, oh wow, okay, this it's like you're in this world, in this electronic world, this virtual reality. That's kind of what they get to do, but not with just goggles, but somehow they can connect with me, and they experience everything that I'm experiencing. They can see what I'm seeing, taste what I'm tasting, everything. So they are experiencing my human experience as well, and these are higher dimensional beings that want to help. And as I'll go forward. It's like I'm going to try to explain this long story that we're all involved in. Is we have become kind of trapped in this holodeck, this matrix, and like I said, being a volunteer to come in here to experience it, I'm sort of giving them intel on how to solve this problem, how to get us out of this mess, sort of, that which we are. That's the cool part about this. So this was planned, well, where there's no time. It's like it's pretty hard to match that up. But this was planned probably thousands of years ago, of how to free this particular classroom on this level, because we were very stuck. We were stuck in a reincarnation loop. We're being used and farmed over and over and over again. And it's a long story, but we don't have time to go into that. But anyway, just so you can understand kind of a little bit better who I am. I'm just as human as anybody else while I'm here, but I'm connected to an alien, I guess, or an ET, off-world connection. We share the same consciousness, so that's kind of who I am. Anyway, I'm hoping that sort of clarifies things a little bit better, and you can understand why I am here. Anyway, okay, that's just a little more disclosure, my personal disclosure, so you can understand what's going on. And like I said, I try to do a video once a month, and as things get more clear, especially because we are going to be getting more disclosure coming up, and so people will understand the bigger picture soon. So, and I'm just here to help. So, okay, that's it for this month. For July, I'll probably do another video in August. So stay positive, and I'll talk to you next month. Okay, bye.